Welcome to an enlightened hour of interactive talk. This is Guided Spirit Conversations with host Marla Goldberg. In this program, we spotlight guests from all over the globe who have helped others change their lives and will provide you with the tips, tools, and techniques that you need to help you make a difference in your own life. Now, here is Marla Goldberg.
Hello, everyone. How are you doing this beautiful Thursday? I have to tell you, I'm so happy to be back. Yes, I've been gone for 2 weeks and I have been upping my education, and I'm now a master metaphysician. So I wanted to share that with you because I'm so excited. It's an accomplishment, and believe me, it had its moments. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about Guided Spirit Conversations, and today's guest, Eimear Stassin. Eimear is a trainer, coach, writer, storyteller, poet, nature lover. In Irish mythology, Eimear is said to possess the 6 gifts of womanhood, which of course I have to ask about. Eimear sets out to expand and rewrite these ancient stories to integrate her story back into history. So her story into history. Stepping out of her corporate career in 2017 into entrepreneurship, she invites clients to let her soul lead the way home to wholeness. Eimear lives in central Scotland with her husband, 3 children, and a puppy. Welcome, Eimear. How are you doing today?
I'm really good. It's lovely to be here. And
I'm
congratulations on your recent qualification.
Thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate that. So you're in Scotland. What time is it there?
It
Like
is
7 p.m.?
5:05.
Oh,
So, yeah, only 5 hours ahead of you. Are you Eastern
I am Eastern. Yeah.
time? Yeah, yeah. And it is raining. It's been really sunny the last while, but it's raining now, sadly.
Well, Mother Nature saying, I'm thirsty.
Yes.
Let me drink you in. Why not? So,
Um,
okay, I've got so much. You were in a corporate career in 2017. What were you doing in that career, and how did you step down this path from that?
Yeah. Yeah, it was that was a question I asked myself really towards the end. What am I doing here? Why am I still here? What's keeping me here? And what else is out there? So, yeah, I'd studied business and economics at university, so just went into business and financial services. And I had quite a few jobs in different organizations in Ireland, in the UK, some time in Australia as well, which was
Nice.
great fun. And yeah, I enjoyed all my jobs and learned loads, got great training, met loads of lovely people. And then it got to the stage where I really began to notice that this was no longer nourishing me. So I had moved from the business side into the training and development side. And that was maybe 14 years ago, maybe more. That was where I knew was beginning to find myself and my calling, of speaking, of learning, of teaching, of training. And yeah, it really got to the stage where I knew I had to step out. And then it took quite a few months to really begin to take the steps. Um, I had started studying NLP, neuro
Hmm.
linguistic programming, back in 2015, and there were so many different messages and synchronicities, but that was one of the main drivers for helping me realize and helping build my confidence to know that I could step out and explore what else was here.
Nice.
So, yeah, I describe it like I was like a dolphin swimming in an ocean where the water had dried up, and my dolphin self was no longer being nourished in the corporate environment. And as much as the people, and I always want to stress that the people I worked with, have been wonderful, the structure and the environment was no longer serving me.
I
So,
understand that. Oh my God, I so understand that. And what was the catalyst that made you step out of the corporate shoes into your entrepreneurship, into your coaching, into your training? There
well,
was
I
a
knew Yeah, I knew there were many different like signs and messages where I knew I had to begin living my own dream and not someone else's dream of the, the corporate world, the corporate brand. And I knew I wanted to try things out my way and do things my way. I'm actually I share a birthday with Frank Sinatra, the late singer Frank Sinatra,
So
not
you're
an
a
age.
Sagittarian?
I am Sagittarian, absolutely. And I did it my way. That was part of my mantra. I really want to explore what my way is. So I really, in work, in my role as a trainer, we had a most amazing conference in the job, and it was like the pinnacle. I thought there is no more beyond this that I want to explore in my job. And I knew then in my heart of hearts, I have to begin to release this environment and take the steps. And one of the first steps was like speaking to my family, my husband, my mum, and just kind of gradually then approach my boss, who was a great friend, and tiny steps I started to take in telling people, and then deciding on a date, which I kept putting back and back, going, no, I can't leave this safe environment, and then eventually setting a date in at the end of April 2017 and going, this is it. I need to go now. I must leave and say goodbye.
And now I just talked about it, the six gifts of womanhood in Irish mythology. So what are these six gifts of womanhood and how did you attain them or possess them?
I love your question. And actually, I was asked this question in an interview recently, and I had a total mind blank. So
Happens all
I
the time.
actually, it happens all the time. And so I actually have them here on screen
Oh,
just in case you ask the question. So, yeah, in Irish mythology, Eimear was the wife of this warrior, a warrior god called Cuchulainn. Some of our listeners might have heard of him. And it means Cu is the hound of Cullen. And Emer was his wife, and I always felt like Emer got less of the airtime than her husband, Cú Cullen, because she had these six gifts, and they are the gift of beauty, of course, the
yes.
gift of voice, speaking, singing, the gift of speech as well, needlework, wisdom, and chastity. Chastity. I can't
Oh,
even
darn,
say the
I had
word.
5 out of 6.
And one of my friends said, well, in the age of Aquarius, we can actually change chastity to fire and feminine grace. And yeah,
I'll take
I
that.
like that.
I like that too, because I'm also a Sagittarian. So,
Ah, are you?
yes. So
Lovely to
bring
meet
on
you.
the fire.
Absolutely, absolutely. We need it.
We do need it. So if somebody doesn't have their six gifts or don't believe, because I believe we all have the gifts, we just have to unearth them, so to speak, to bring them to light, to believe them. It's a part of self-acceptance. How do
Yes.
people, if they don't have it, how do you help guide them to achieving knowing their six gifts and attaining it?
Yeah, yeah, and beyond. Because for me, it's like, well, it's not just six. There's many,
Yeah,
many more, you know?
that's
Uh,
true.
yeah, yeah. So I'm a trainer and I'm also a soul-based coach, a certified soul-based coach. So I help people um, begin to listen to the language of their soul. And as you'll know, the language of our soul is through metaphors, through symbol, through images, through that knowing, through the clairs. So I guide people through this framework for change to begin to connect inwards with their innate wisdom through the outward expression of their metaphoric language. So yeah,
So would you consider it a soul journey that you
yeah,
guide your clients on to find
yes.
their gifts, their latent gifts, or those that are out in front?
Yes, it really is a soul journey. And what I'm noticing, the more I reconnect with my soul voice, the people that are coming to me are more from like the shamanic knowing or our channels, our coaches themselves. So they're already so connected inwards. And I'm like this space holder asking these clean questions so that they can rediscover at a deeper level and go on this journey. And the journeys are just magical. And then easily their reality begins to change and shift, and they can take that action that they so want in the world. It's an amazing process, an
It
amazing
sounds
way
like a
to work.
phenomenal process.
Yeah, yeah,
And it sounds so
yeah.
deep.
Yes, yeah, it really, really is. And it's easeful in many ways because we focus on what our clients, what they want more of, what you want more of. And then the
Right.
other stuff, the other stuff that we don't want. I was going to ask if I can swear.
Oh, absolutely. Swear away.
I was gonna say
I'm so
the other
organic. Just
shite.
leave it.
Since we're live on air, the other shite or shit or whatever, it comes up. It comes up to be witnessed and acknowledged and healed and
Healed.
released. So it's a beautiful way to work. And I discovered this through neurolinguistic programming and coming across this questioning technique called clean language. So it's like the follow the breadcrumbs.
I keep getting stuck at clean language. What if it wasn't so clean?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I do say it's clean language, but you can swear to your heart's content. Yeah, and it's like they're like the ultra open questions of the coaching world where I keep my stuff out as the questioner so that
Yes.
the client can fully engage with their soul journey.
Well, it's hard if you weren't sitting in neutrality, it's pretty hard to get really clean information using the clean word because your stuff will mix in with theirs. So it's,
Yeah,
it's an important facet to know that when you're working with somebody like Eimear or myself, whatever, that to know that they could stay neutral and not, interject their ego judgments or criticisms.
yes, yes, absolutely, absolutely. Because the knowing, the understanding is that we all have the resources and the power within us. And that's it. It's about reconnecting with those gifts. To get back to your original question, it's reconnecting with your innate gifts.
But to reconnect, you have to know that they're there. You have to
Yes,
acknowledge them and own them
yes, yes,
because
yeah,
I mean that's the first part, right?
yeah,
Acknowledgement is what they say in the 12-step program. You can't really to help yourself unless you acknowledge what your situation is.
yeah, yeah. And believe it's possible. It's so possible. It really is.
It's true that healing, um, yeah, to own what you are, what you want to get rid of.
Yeah,
And look, we've all been, as you know, in our past lives, we've been the victim, but we've been victimized. We've been the perpetrator. We've been everything so that we can come to this point and help people.
yes,
And
yes.
so that's the big revelation. So how do they relate to your journey into entrepreneurship, the six gifts?
So yeah, I guess people are drawn to me through my story and I guess my energy as well. And to know that you can step out. Something else that guided me was poetry. And there's a poet, Martha Postlewaite, who talks about the clearing, creating a clearing in the dense forest of your life. So a key aspect of stepping out of corporate was to step into a space of not knowing. And I think, people connect with that and admire that because I knew I had to create this space, walk and wander in the woods to allow what wanted to bubble up within me to arrive. And that was scary. So
Well, it is. I mean, you've given up the security of corporate life, so you've given up a lot of securities. I mean, and it doesn't make a difference what your husband's doing. You're accustomed to carrying a role.
Yes.
You bring home a paycheck, you have benefits, you've got a schedule that is, you have to be somewhere at this time, it ends at this time. And yes, you may have to work overtime, but the basic constructs
Yes.
are from here to there. So
Yeah.
knowing that now you don't have to do this and you're responsible 100% for your time and what you do with it, that is a scary aspect.
Yes. Yes. It really is. And there were lots of tears shed and lots of expletives expressed. And at the same time, I'm like, wow, this world exists outside of corporate. I'd become so institutionalized and on brand in my corporate job. And
Yes.
still, I'm releasing the layers. Still, it's still a process of
Well, and think
releasing.
about how many years you were in corporate.
Yeah.
And even though you're stepping into this path, you still have to, there are cords, to this, belief system or this person. And slowly but surely they have to unravel and release
Yes.
while you're doing your work. So but it's wonderful. Now, why do you call on people, specifically women and the feminine, to rise up and return to their power?
Oh, yes.
Do I hear Helen Reddy in the background?
Yeah. Here they all come. Come on, everyone. Well, I feel this has been my journey because it's been a stepping out of the structures and systems that were no longer serving me and a returning to my power. And to do that, I feel I've got to rise up out of the density of everyday life, everyday stuff, and then drop in at a deeper level to my power. So the rise up and return to your power and to reconnect with her story, with the feminine. This is my journey. I do masculine energy very well.
But this is a goddess story. You know what? We're going to say, hang on, Eimear. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back on the other side, talking more about, getting into your power, taking back your
Yeah,
power, or stepping into your power, whichever way you want it to go.
yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
All clear. Great segment.
Thanks, Andrew. So we keep talking during break. Are you
I love it.
comfortable? Is it flowing well for you?
Yes, absolutely beautiful,
Good.
absolutely gorgeous. And I love your questioning style as well. It's really helped to keep me on track and draw out the information for your viewers. So thank you.
Excellent. And if there's something I'm missing, say, I want to add this,
Mhm.
just let me know where you want to go and we'll go there.
Lovely.
Because, it's to spotlight what you do and how you do it and how it helps,
Hmm.
the people you work with. Now,
Yeah.
do you work with men at all or is it strictly women?
Yeah, I have worked with men. So I say all genders are welcome. And I think as my journey has been about reconnecting with my feminine energies, that's who's attracted to me. So
But
it is.
we all carry both of those energies.
Exactly.
And it's
Exactly.
just
Yeah.
figuring out how to balance, because some people, both male and female,
Yeah.
stand so heavily in their male into achieving and succeeding and conquering and all these like do kind of energies,
Yeah.
they forget to nurture themselves
Yeah.
and just to have self-care and all the
Yeah.
feminine energies that come in.
Yeah. Absolutely. And the rest and the intuition, to allow the whispers and the knowing to rise up within.
Exactly. I mean, yes. So we were talking about soul pictures before,
Yeah.
and somebody I know had a soul picture done. And what was interesting is there was like this purple pot that was behind their figure. And it was the person who had explained it, who developed this technique, kept saying, "Why do you keep your spirituality behind you? Put it in front of you. You'll
Wow.
do better with it in front of you. Own your psychic ability. You're highly psychic. Own it instead of squashing it down."
All right.
Mhm.
10 seconds.
Perfect. Thanks.
Amazing.
Makes a difference.
Yeah. Gorgeous. Oh,
You are listening to Guided Spirit Conversations. To reach Marla Goldberg or her guest today, you're invited to call into the program at 1-888-346-9141. That's 1-888-346-9141. If you'd rather send an email, the address is guidedspiritconversations@gmail.com. Now, back to this week's program.
Hello and welcome for sticking around. Thank you for sticking around and welcome back for us. And if you've just tuned in, I am talking to Eimear Stassin. Eimear is a coach, writer, trainer, storyteller, poet, nature lover, and she is, and we're going to talk about this in this segment, she's a witch. And we're going to talk about what it means to be a witch and what why there's nothing to be afraid of in this capacity. So welcome back, Eimear.
Thank you. Lovely to be here.
I'm so happy that you're here. We're having such a great conversation. So we were talking about for women to step into their power, return to their power. What have you found most with the women? That they've handed over their power to others, or they lost their power due to being criticized and judged growing up, repressed. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, yes, all of that. And that many have disconnected from their voice, their true voice, the voice of their soul, and have become so accustomed to talking themselves out of ideas, the wisdom that bubbles up inside of them. Talking ourselves out, I notice when I do it myself with our conscious linear ego mind. And also, I'm thinking of a recent client where she realized during a session that she had taken on, it was like she was carrying doctor's bags all her life, that she had taken on the heaviness of her lineage and of a doctor that had actually midwifed her into the world. Like, it
Wow.
was really, really amazing. And once she realized that and could choose to drop those bags, then, well, her whole space, her whole energy began to open up once again. So, yeah, it's a whole variety of things that it feels like it's really connected to knowing our truth and speaking that, voicing that, singing that, writing that, getting in touch with our creativity.
Well, and that's also the feminine,
Yeah.
creating.
Yeah.
Because on the break, we were talking, for those who didn't hear, we were talking about the male and female relationship dynamic within each and every one of us, more so than stepping out of ourselves for that male and female dynamic and what it works with. Because Eimear does work with men. It's not just a female clientele, because men too need to understand what it's like to step into their feminine, to nurture, to create, to have their voice on their intuitive side. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I'm a mom to two daughters and a son, and I want to make sure that they know that balance within them too, of the yin and the yang, the masculine and feminine.
Which is so important,
Yeah, yeah,
because once you have more balance, like there's a time and a place for everything.
yeah,
There's a time to create. There's a time to achieve. There's a time to achieve creation. So, it's just learning how to balance it out. And when you do, you just you'll find your life so well balanced, more so than what it might be today.
yes, yeah, absolutely. And easeful as well. It's like inviting this ease and fun too into life. We can have fun and earn a living as well.
You can. I believe if you have fun what you're doing, if you love what you're doing and you have the passion, it's not a job. It is just another part of a lifestyle.
Yeah, yeah,
So
love
now I
that.
mentioned you're a witch and you had a witchy experience in 2020.
I did. I
Let's
did.
share that and then we can talk about what it means to be a witch, please.
Yeah, yeah. So it was actually the 8th of August last year. We were in Edinburgh, which is in Scotland. And Edinburgh was once known as the witch burning capital of Europe.
Interesting.
So many witches were either burnt at the stake or drowned. or killed in horrific ways. And we went on a tour, myself and my family, in the Edinburgh dungeons, and it's a fun tour, honestly, fun and atmospheric. And while we were on the tour, I volunteered to go on trial, on mock trial. And as I stood on my spot and looked up at the wig wearing judge above me, and he was asking me to testify on behalf of myself, but also on behalf of another sister. And honestly, within me was like this flame, I call it the flicker of a flame of remembrance that reignited within me.
Mm.
And it was like, no, I am not going to testify like this again. And no, I am not going to put myself in this position again. It was really like, I am reclaiming my power and I am inviting all of myself home.
Wow.
It was such a powerful and almost in such a low key way, because I was just standing there role playing this witch being put on trial, that I turned to my family and I was like, gosh, kids, this has really happened. This has happened to probably all of us and to many people in our past lives. And they're just like, yeah, mom, come on, let's move on to the next room. It was such a powerful experience. And I was sharing before we started recording that it's really set me on a whole new path in my work, like a deeper path, and a very interesting path as well.
And so, how did this awaken your uh, stepping into becoming a witch?
So it really, um, when I had that experience, we did the tour, and then I started Googling, I started looking up, about these witches of Edinburgh, of Scotland, and the UK, and Ireland. And I could feel this anger rising up within me, like, why? I've lived in Scotland 20 years. How have I not connected with the witches before? How have I not known? In my last workplace, it actually looked out to the castle, to Edinburgh Castle, where hundreds 300, it said, witches were burnt at the stake in the Edinburgh Castle Esplanade. And I was angry with myself. Why did I not know this before? Um, and yeah, I've kind of gone off on one there in my in my own mind. But yeah, so I found out there was this monument, this plaque called the Witch's Well, that was in by in the castle esplanade to honor the witches who had been killed, in the 1500s to the 1700s. And of course,
That's a
there were more
lot.
in between that or out with that. And when I went and found that little humble plaque that's in honor of the witches, this poem, this whispering started rising up within me. And as I returned back home, walking down the street, these words, and this is often how words and poetry comes to me. It's when I'm moving, it's like these words, witches rise up, witches rise up. And it just kept coming. Witches rise up and return to your power. Witches rise up. Now is the hour. Witches rise up and step onto your throne. Witches rise up. It's time to come home. So part of my reawakening into being a witch, a wise woman, a seer, a Shanachie storyteller, has been reconnecting with my words, with poetry, with storytelling that's native to me as Irish, born and bred and living in Ireland and
Yeah.
now in Scotland. So to my Celtic lineage,
It sounds like
reawakened all of this.
but it sounds like a calling. Like the words are calling out to you to bring you in, like a siren would bring in the
Oh,
sailors. That's what it
yeah.
sounded like to me when you were saying it.
Wow. Well, and it's so interesting you say that. That's so true, because part of what I realize now, and only realized this recently, was back in 2017 when I knew I had to step out of corporate. I realized it was most likely the witches that were calling me all along, because I
That's
had a certain knowing when I was on this fifth floor in our office. And the fifth floor has the most amazing view over to the extinct volcano that the castle is built on. And I imagine it was the witches playing with me, calling me out all along, and patiently waiting for me to connect the dots of the puzzle.
And you have you walk down your path when it's your time to walk down your path, because you're not going to be ready any sooner.
No.
But so let's talk about, what does it mean to be a witch? Just to
Yeah.
take the fear aspect out, that there's nothing to be afraid. That and so what is being a witch?
Yeah, and that's part of, I feel that is part of my calling to bring this lightness to the word witch. And it's been in our balanced essence, reconnecting with her story and his story. It's the wise woman, it's the word wizard, it's the literary witch, it's the joker, I, I guess I'm partly describing myself, aren't I? It's your native soulful self that you can fully express from your place of power.
And
It's
but
a big description.
it is a big but it's a big topic.
Yeah.
So there's white witches, there are black witches or dark witches. Can we explain the difference between the two
Yeah.
of them?
Yeah, well, to be honest, I don't even know like what the difference can be, because I feel like part of my calling, I know there's so much history and there's so many facts that people can connect into and look up online. And I find for me, my expression of which and my knowing of which has to be expressed from within me,
Mm-hmm.
if that makes sense. So
Right.
my version of witch and my label of witch will be different to someone else's. So I don't even know what the difference, if I'm
So
honest, is between the white and the black witch.
so the white witch, this is my understanding, and if there's anybody out there who knows the difference better than what I'm going to share, feel free to write in, call in, or even after the podcast's over, send me a message, because I would love to know. But so my understanding of a black witch is that they do things for ego, they do things in retribution
Mm,
or retaliation. They, what they work in is really conjuring up, not for the highest and best good of all, but the highest and best good of a select few.
mm,
And so that they might cast spells, but it's to make people do things against their will, or because they're angry, like throwing daggers or sending negative energy. Like
yeah,
that would be like under the auspice of a dark witch or black witch, where white witch is about nurture, bringing mother nature into it. If you cast spells, the spells are for the highest and best good of everyone. It's done with a lightness and a love, and a love for all the aspects, fire, wind, water, earth, all of them, and metal. And so that, or ethers, whichever way you believe, and that white witches are really benign, and they're gentle, and they're supportive of
yeah,
all those they're working with, and those in their um okay, now I'm missing a word, their group of other witches.
yeah, yeah. In the circle, yeah.
Yeah.
So I would definitely connect with the white witch more there in your
That's what I
description.
thought, but
Thank you.
but if whether white witch or not, um, here's the thing: if you think somebody's casting a spell on you, you can protect yourself if it's something that's not for your highest and best good. And I just want to let people out there know about that. I mean, white witches are like, if you think of Glinda, the good witch, we spoke about her earlier, opposed to the witch of the west, and they were sisters, but one was evil and was really doing things out of her pain, her personal pain, where
Yeah,
Glinda was all love, love, joy, joy, and let's do everything that's for peace and love, and it was all gentle and sparkly.
yeah, I love that. Yeah. One of my favorite movies as well.
Absolutely. And you gotta love a white witch, right?
Yeah, 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 absolutely. And I think part of the word and the meaning for me is because it's, in lockdown, I haven't been home to Ireland for a year and a half now. And I feel for me, it's actually like reconnecting with my native self. And that is, and you
Yeah.
mentioned the elements and the elementals, and that's what it's brought me home to, connecting and befriending once again. Like the element of fire, I come across some people who do not want to connect with fire, mainly maybe because they may have been burnt or, as a witch in a past life, or maybe metaphorically burnt in this life. So it's about bringing back that balance, inviting in the elementals, inviting
Yes.
in the goddesses. I connect with the Irish goddesses and gods as well, and I call all of them the witches too. So I've kind of broadened out the word so it becomes like a lighter. It can feel lighter energetically and more healing.
And not intimidating or not
Yeah,
something
yeah,
that's from a fear-based place,
exactly, exactly.
which
Yeah,
is so important because
yeah,
if you're going for healing, if you're afraid, you're not going to get the healing you are desiring. You're not going to get the effect you're desiring. And that's why it's so important when you go in as neutral as possible and you go in open
yeah,
to what's going to come. I mean, I don't know how you feel about this, but I know that, I talk to people all the time and I say, if you're a skeptic, it's okay. I welcome you. Even if you're not, you're just fearful, it's okay. I welcome that. But if you're closed, arms crossed, legs crossed, that scowl, like, you're not getting through this,
yeah,
then there's no sense to even move forward because nothing is going to help. Nothing is going to help you in the shift because until you sit there and say, I need this, I want this, I'm open for this, you don't get the healing that you're looking for.
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
All right, we're going to stop at this moment. We're going to go take a quick break and we'll be right back to come out of all of that.
All
Thank
clear?
you.
Thanks, Andrew.
No problem.
Oh my God, that's so funny. So, is there anything we're going to mention the retreat on the other side? Is there anything else I haven't mentioned?
Um, no, I mean, there's more to the story, I guess, that I ended up doing an online summit in December called Healing the Witch Wound. So, um, yeah, I don't really need to mention that, but it's kind of like it just led me on this journey of healing for myself and my voice because I noticed when I began to share my poetry that I had written that my voice would go. The more I speak my truth, I'd start getting this like dry, froggy throat. And it was like I had kind of suppressed my voice for my true voice for so long.
And how
And it
many
was getting caught.
lifetimes?
Yeah, yeah,
Not just this lifetime.
yeah, yeah. And it was just amazing. I had done all this corporate training and all of that and was comfortable standing up and speaking, and this is who I am. And then suddenly I connect with the witches and my witchy self, and I'm like,
But don't forget, you've been persecuted for that. And that's one of the reasons the voice doesn't stay because you're afraid of being persecuted again. So it is, yeah, it's amazing how unconsciously the energies know from past lives into the present.
yeah, 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 amazing, amazing. So that's part of my journey is healing that as well.
I understand. I just recently did a past life regression, and it's sort of like the same thing, some of the same things, not all of it, that I experienced here. I experienced in another lifetime. I'm sure it's
Wow,
not the only other lifetime.
wow,
So when we
Nice.
start healing our wounds, it's not just the stuff that
10
is
seconds.
perfect is in our life today, but Okay.
You are listening to Guided Spirit Conversations. To reach Marla Goldberg or her guest today, you're invited to call into the program at 1-888-346-9141. That's 1-888-346-9141. If you'd rather send an email, the address is guidedspiritconversations@gmail.com. Now, back to this week's program.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for sticking around. If you're just tuning in, I'm with Eimear Stassin, and Eimear is phenomenal. She's a trainer, coach, writer, storyteller, poet, nature lover. She's very involved in Irish mythology, and to top it all off, one of the cherries on top of that sundae is that she is a witch. And so we're going to do our charity shout out, and then we're going to talk about a retreat that Eimear has coming up very soon that you might be interested in. So if this resonates with you, run, don't walk to your computer and sign up. But if you want to check Eimear's website out, it's Eimear, Eimear Stassin, STASSIN.com or stassin.co.uk. And you can see what she does, how she works with her clients, past retreats she's put on, and future retreats. But let's start with, it's charity shout out time. We cannot ignore our charity. And Eimear's charity is, I'm going to return, I was about to call it Sister Trees, Tree Sisters. And so, Eimear, welcome back. Let's talk about Tree Sisters, who they are and what they do and what kind of help they need.
Yeah, this is a charity I connected with a number of years ago, and part of their motto is about women seeding change, and all genders, and men and all genders are invited along too. And Claire Dubois is from Britain, who is the founder, and she actually was gifted the concept and idea of Tree Sisters she had a car crash. She wasn't badly injured or anything, but she was given the download, given the download of Tree Sisters when she had this car crash, and set up this foundation, this charity to plant tropical trees around the world, and to also help support women in particular to connect with their voice and plant trees in order to, because tropical trees, mangroves, they sequester, if I can say the word sequester, up 3 times plus more carbon dioxide than standard trees. So this is their mission, and they've planted billions of trees around the world. And for as little as it can be I think 12p in British money, like maybe 20 cents a sapling, a tree, you can donate and your tree will be planted for you. So yeah, it's amazing work, and often a lot of the programs and courses that I run, I donate part of that to Tree Sisters. They provide so much free stuff as well. Their website is gorgeous and nourishing, and they do monthly full moon meditations,
lovely
trainings. They're a beautiful organization.
So check out treesisters.org to learn about what they do, how you can help, how you can participate, and you might want to get in on one or two of those meditations. So check it out, please. All right, we've got a little bit of time left. You've got a retreat coming up very, very soon. Let's say in 3 days?
Yes.
On the 27th of June?
Yes, so it's on Sunday. Yes.
So let's talk. It's called Witches Rise Up.
Rise Up, yes.
Witches Rise Up. So let's talk about what it is. Is this learning to be a witch? I just want to dispel any fallacies that might be around this event.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. It's so for people who either connect with the word witch or are feeling like this flicker of intrigue, this curiosity within you, it's about rising up, first of all, as a witch, and stepping inside your story of your own becoming as you return home to yourself.
Oh,
So
I love that.
the tagline that came through for me is to re-witch yourself.
I
So,
love
like
that.
we're rewilding nature. It's part of what Tree Sisters are doing as well, planting tropical trees. We can also re-witch ourselves.
So how long is the retreat for? And
So it's 3 hours. It's 3 hours, and it's going to comprise of storytelling. So I'll be taking people on the journey, on my witchy journey through storytelling, through poetry, and also there'll be larger group work and breakout group work. I'll bring in soul journaling and soul based coaching questions for people to connect with their unique witch within.
oh,
And
nice.
um, yeah, we'll be exploring. I shared an email the other day of someone had written to me and had said, I have to confess, I hate the word witch. So could you use a different word? And I was like, no, in the nicest way, no. And I really felt this no rise up within me because isn't that all part of the stigma that we
Yes.
can't use this word because, it's charged in many
Yes.
ways.
And what triggered her with the
Yeah,
word? And I have a feeling
yeah,
she would be probably one of the witches burned at the stake or drowned,
yeah,
or her demise came in a way that was not comfortable or easy.
yeah, absolutely. So there's definitely the witch wound, to use
Yeah,
that term there. And this is about healing that and focusing on how you want to step out with connecting with your true soul voice. Within those 3 hours, we'll also have singing. I have a guest coming along to sing the Witches Rise Up mantra that came to me. And we'll have another guest coming to share her witchy poem as well. So it's going to be like a group circle effort. And so far, I've got 20 people signed up. So it will be a nice, intimate
lovely.
affair, and people get a replay as well if you can't make it live or you can't make the whole thing live. So, yeah, I want it to be as relaxed as possible.
How
So, if you
lovely.
feel it within you and want to rise up with us witches, then join in.
How
Yeah.
how do they join in?
So they join in through my website, either of my websites, eimearstassin.com, and there's a link on the front page to sign up, and it's £95 in um, sterling for the 3 hours, and it's going to be
That's
a
nice. So that
magical
it's
affair.
really reasonable for 3 hours. It's not like you're charging a ton of money. And I
Yeah,
think that's in consideration to what's going on with people right now
yeah,
to make it
yeah,
accessible to them.
absolutely. I just want to make sure that the people that feel called can be here and join us and connect. And I know it will go to many depths. And the people that are joining, some I've worked with and know already, and others are new to me. So I know it will be a really nourishing experience.
So, what important roles does nature serve in your life, in your
Mm.
practices?
Oh, yeah, I love that question. So, a key part of me stepping out of the old structures and into this new paradigm way of living and earning a living, nature has become so important to me. It always has been important, but even more so now. And we live on the edge of Falkirk, which is a small town in Scotland, and there's woods. I'm pointing out here, there's woods out here, trees and
Nice.
woods and trails and Scots pines and ash trees and hollies and larches and, all of that, and gorgeous animals, and just wandering and walking in the woods has been my therapy. It's nature therapy. And it's where I receive wisdom. It's where I release. It's where I can cry and shed tears to Mother Earth. I've had encounters with animals that have, you know, become significant. And actually, I bring that into my training, like encountering fox or vixen at the crossroads, and seeing woodpecker with her chicks, and
Oh, lovely.
it's been such a source of nourishment for me, and it's helped ground me because I was so well trained in the intellect and in learning and quick, in that deadline driven world. And this just helps me ground and slow down and reconnect with my true self.
Have you had any fairy run-ins or gnomes?
Well, no, not yet, but I feel like they're playing with me, like dropping one time triple acorn. It was like three little acorns was dropped with a thud right in front of me. I just feel like they're playing with me. I sometimes see like
Little lights,
things,
little sparkles around?
yeah, out of the corner of my eyes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
I love
it's
that.
very well sounds like there is somebody playing with you, some being playing with you, I should say.
Yeah, I feel that. Yeah.
So, Amir, thank you so much for being a part of the show today. Your information is great. Please check out Eimear Stassin, STASSIN.com or stassin.co.uk to learn more about what she does, how she works with her clients, her retreats. And don't forget, Witches Rise Up this Sunday. And what time is
It's
the
3 p.m. UK time. So what's that? 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 10
10
a.m.
a.m.
Eastern.
Eastern?
Yeah.
Eastern time. So
So
don't
hopefully
miss this
good
if you're
time.
called.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
you're called
And
to rise up with Emer and her group of 20,
yeah, yeah,
and her singer and everybody else, this is the
yeah,
opportunity. And it's a little bit different from the mainstream. So maybe what you're meant to do is to step into something that isn't as mainstream as some other things. So,
yeah.
and there again, thank you. And I want to
Thank you.
thank you out there for Voice America for getting the show up and on, and all of you who are so supportive of getting amazing content out to the world. I want to thank Bridget, my right arm and left arm. Thank you so much. So grateful for you. And most importantly, I want to thank you, the audience, for participating in this podcast because you're important to me and this was designed for your well-being. But before I sign off, I want to ask a question. And I would love it if you would respond to the question. You can IM me on Facebook. You can email me at marla@mghealer.com. Now, that's my personal email, my personal professional email. Or you can put the answer on YouTube. But the question I really have is about forgiving yourself. We go through life and we keep beating ourselves up worse than anybody could ever beat us up over something that in the scheme of life is nothing. Excuse the phrase, it's like a fart in the wind. It just like disperses quickly. So the question I have for you is, what do you have trouble forgiving yourself for? Think about it. You don't have to answer me. I would love it if you would respond, but think about what you have trouble forgiving yourself for. We all have things. And once you realize that and take ownership, and it's something Amir and I spoke about earlier, it's like once you acknowledge something, it's now in front of you to release it. So if you have trouble forgiving yourself for foot and mouth disease, which I've been noted to do once in a while, say the wrong thing at the wrong time, well, let it go. I brought it to attention and now it's going to go away. So think about what you have trouble forgiving yourself for. And I'm going to leave you by saying to you, I am sending you love, blessings, and gratitude. I love you. So if you haven't heard it today, you're hearing it now. You are loved. You are acknowledged. And I am grateful for that you're in my life in whatever capacity you're in it. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And until the next time, stay well, enjoy your life, have fun, and let's not take everything so seriously. We can allow things to sort of float away. Till next week, stay tuned and have a beautiful week. Take care.